We're expected to raise boys who honor the integrity and dignity of women. Why aren't we expected to raise girls who honor the dignity and integrity of men? We have a society that is built around a couple principles. These principles used to have value. These values of a forgotten age, were ideas of chivalry, propriety, of honor, of integrity. Now, was every man an exemplar of this? No, it was an ideal that was taught. This women and children first, right? Men last. And we'll get to that in a minute. And so we have these old sort of ideas, and I'll call them outmoded. I don't think they apply in society anymore. I mean, I try and raise my boys to be respectful and to of people, not just women, but of people in general. But there's respect other people. That's what you do. Of course, my girls too, but my girls are considerably younger, so they're not quite in the same learning age. But being respectful of other people, of dignifying those people. But here's the deal: this idea of chivalry belonged in a different age. It belonged in an age of mutuality. Now we don't have that. Now, before I jump into this next portion of the discussion, I'm going to be very clear. I am not calling for anyone to talk to this person or engage this person at all. Okay? It is not the point of this. I'm not calling for a single response from anybody. This is just a person whose words and thoughts illustrate part of the problem that we have here. Okay? This is what men are facing today. And the fact, and this response is exactly the issue. It's exactly what I'm talking about. All right. And it's this person here. So notice that this thing, all I'm asking for is that girls are to honor the dignity and integrity of men. I mean, this seems reasonable, but have you ever seen people call for it? Have you ever seen anybody say, you know what? We really want our young girls to be taught to respect men. No. Outside of individuals, but as a societal call, have the academics ever risen up and said this? No, of course not. But why is it of course? And why is it not? Why don't they? Why are we told over and over? Because it's this idea of rape culture. It's the rape fantasy of I don't know, third wave feminism. I don't know what it is. But it's this idea that all men are rapists in waiting, or in training, as some would call it. And all women are perpetual victims on the knife's edge of immediate violence. So here's the response. When was the last time you had to worry walking the street at night? Well, the answer for basically any man who lives in a city is every night. Right? Like, that's the real answer. The difference is we don't. We don't. Should we? Yes. Walking down down the street at night in a major city, should you be afraid? Should you, or not afraid? It's not the right word. Should you be concerned? Yes, you should be. You absolutely should be. If you live in Chicago, you walk around not concerned. Houston, New Orleans, Miami. Fuck me. I was walking through Miami at night and I was like, holy shit, this is not safe at all. But lots of men choose or are forced to not worry. You know why? Because if you worry, if you project fear, you are a bigger target. They love the person who's afraid. They love them. That's the person you hit. The person who is not afraid, It's a much more dangerous target. Maybe they're not afraid because they have a gun. Maybe they're not afraid because they have nothing to lose. You don't know. But that's the difference. Men have had to deal with this forever. Or riding a subway train at night, same thing. Why don't you ask black people when are they going to respect the dignity and integrity of white people while you're at it? Well, okay. Sure. I mean, this is a two coquet fallacy, but it's a meritorious question. Like that's an okay question too. I don't think it's as pressing personally. I really don't. I think my question about girls honoring the dignity and integrity of men is a much more pressing question than whites worrying about the dignity and or blacks worrying about the dignity and integrity of whites. Personally, other people may disagree, but I think this is the bigger issue because they and we already do. Do you? Do you? So should we not raise girls to respect the dignity and integrity of men? This is my question. I knew to expect these responses. Linear thinking people, oh, so women shouldn't be taught to treat men respectfully. Yeah, sure, that's what I'm saying. Oh my God. Well, what are you saying? What are you saying if not that? If not that. Let's check out the replies here. Because she has some more. Where are they? Okay, here. You know why I have a visceral reaction to this question? No, it's irrational to have a visceral reaction to this question. Because girls are brought up their whole life to be nice. First of all, that's not true. Second of all, what? Why are you teaching girls to be nice? That's a weird thing. I don't even know what this actually means, but here we go. I have a teenage daughter and there are things I hear her and her friends say. I don't really want to go to the dance with him, but I don't want to hurt his feelings, so maybe I'll just go with him. I mean, okay. I don't know what this means, but okay, I guess. I don't know that I've ever encountered this issue. Next, that older dude keeps coming into my work and he keeps talking to me, but I don't want to be rude or anything because he hasn't done anything. Well, yeah. If he's just coming and talking to you, it might be a creepy guy. Maybe you should report him to your boss. Maybe you should do something, have a coworker assist you or something like that. I'm not sure. What does this mean? What does this actually mean? Is it perception? Is it reality? I don't know. But here's the problem. Look at my response. Boys are told to literally die first. Let's talk about the comparison here. Let's talk about the comparison. I don't know about kids today, but I know about my generation. Literally, men fight wars, men fight crime. And if it comes down to you or a woman getting out of a burning building, the woman gets out. And you are literally expected to die so that she can live, whether you know her or not. That is taught to boys, that their life is worth less than some woman or child that they have never met. And I'm not saying that that's the worst lesson. I'm not saying that there's not value in teaching honor and courage and instilling a sense of selflessness into people. But listen to the comparison. This girl's uncomfortable telling this guy that she doesn't want to go to the dance with him. Boys deal with this too, by the way. Guys are uncomfortable telling girls no who do ask them out or whatever. They have a bad date. They'll sit there and stick with it. through that date, even if they don't really like the person, and they'll pay too, oftentimes. But the comparison is mild discomfort over you are not worth as much as that other person based on their gender and yours. That you should give up yourself, your future, your potential, anything, while everybody else doesn't. It's amazing. It's amazing to me, the disparity. But here you go. Go on any college campus and go to informational meetings on date rape. Who are they talking to? The women, the girls. Where's the information for the guys that it's wrong to rape? Oh, 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 sweetheart. I don't know. Literally everywhere. But shockingly, the overwhelming majority of men, like the unreasonably high majority of men, know that rape isn't okay. Like there's kind of this inherent sort of miasma of understanding around men. We all got together actually. Half the world's population. Couple people were stuck at work. That's why they still rape. They were stuck at work and they didn't get the memo, but just about every guy on earth knows that rape is wrong. Here's the thing. There are all sorts of reasons that are not justifications in any way why people will do a thing that they know to be wrong. One is because they just don't fucking care. Two, it's because of substances or altered mental states for whatever reason. Three, it's because of some vindictive or personal reasons. None of these are acceptable, but they are things that happen. But yeah, do you think telling men more that, well, you really shouldn't rape someone, like they're going to, oh, yeah. Oh, God. You know what? I was just getting ready to do my nightly raping, and I'm so glad you brought this up. God, I hadn't thought about that. Jeez. It's very helpful. No, it's actually the thing that they're telling, the reason that they do this for young women. Here's why. It's because society has never taught young women to respect the dignity and integrity of men. That they don't realize that those men whose dignity and integrity they're not respecting when they go to a party drinking a bunch of liquor, and also being around men who are acting out of control and acting ridiculous, how much danger they're in. It's not their fault that they're in danger or that these men are acting unreasonable and ridiculous, but they have to tell them how much danger they're in because they're not looking for men of dignity and integrity. And if they were, they wouldn't be at a fucking party full of degenerates. This is what they're trying to tell women. Go look for men of dignity and integrity. Do that instead of showing up at blackout drunk college parties, screaming about how you just love liquor or how you can never hold your liquor, and how crazy you get with your girls while you're out. Like, instead of that, try going for the opposite. But you've got this lagging problem here where men are they're getting tired. They're getting tired of being told that they're monsters. They're getting tired of acting well and not being treated well when they do so. And you get into these situations where you have someone who may have spent their entire life trying to do the right thing and getting the wrong result and finding a much easier path with a little bit of liquor and a little bit of assertiveness. Once you've got that, you've got a recipe. But we only teach one side of the equation, and then we get mad when that side of the equation fails. Well, that side of the equation is going to fail from time to time. Again, before this gets twisted, and I know it will, it doesn't matter. It's not a justification. It's not an excuse. And the men who fail their one most crucial task, they deserve prison. In fact, if it's like a violent rapist, kill them. I don't fucking care. Put them down. They're a danger to society. Put them down. I don't think they belong in society. But you can never prevent the failure from happening. It will happen. It's math. But that being said, treat both sides of the equation because that's also math. You have to work on both sides. You can't just do it to one. We only do one over and over and over again. And we wonder, why does this keep happening? Well, I don't fucking know. Maybe it's because you teach one side that it's not worth the same as the other, but you put an equal sign in the middle. Here we go. Let's go into this one. So I like this Elizabeth person. She seems nice. So what you're saying is that there needs to be more information made available to both men and women on how they should respect each other. I totally agree. Yes, I'm also saying propping up an idiot like Amber Heard to say women need to treat men better leaves a real sour taste in my mouth. Notice the assumption here. As if it is some kind of epidemic. Well, I don't know, guys. Is this an epidemic? Is this an epidemic? Tell me, men, what do you feel? Here's the thing. This is a crazy part of it. Not only is it an epidemic, when it happens, it is a complete and cataclysmic destruction of the person who is accused. It is a devastating, irrecoverable position when it works. You will never get away from it. Johnny Depp will never get away. He will always be, in the minds of many, wife beater Johnny Depp, even if he never once laid a hand on Amber Heard. When women have a shit ton more to worry about if we want to talk about all things equal. So then I responded, who said anything about Amber Heard? I'm assuming your thesis statement didn't come out of a vacuum. It doesn't. It comes out of a society that teaches boys to respect the dignity and integrity of women, but doesn't teach girls, right? Here we go. But look at the response. Maybe when we don't have to worry about equal pay. Oh, pumpkin, you don't. You don't, because study after study after study show that when you actually correct for the same job types, not only do women have equal pay, they slightly edge out men. Maybe when men don't take up 90% of power positions in government, they don't. For one, they don't. For two, you're talking about something completely different here. As CEOs, they also don't. Maybe when boys have to worry about getting raped. Oh, do boys not have to worry about getting raped now? Well, hello, altar boys. How are you today? And maybe when 90% of domestic violence victims aren't women, I'll be more concerned about that need. Well, I got news for you. 90% of domestic violence victims aren't women. Boys do have to worry about getting raped. 90% of power positions in government and as CEOs aren't held by men. Elizabeth comes back. Or when men aren't 3 times more likely to commit suicide, or more likely to lose custody, or more likely to be falsely accused, more likely to be injured on the job. 1 in 4 men suffer domestic violence. 1 in 4 men suffer sexual assault. Both sides have problems. And that has nothing to do with how women treat them. Oh, well, I mean, this is magic. This, this is it. Again, it's not this person's fault. Oh shit, she was following me earlier. Sorry, KK. It's not this person's fault. It's really not. This is not an individual typing this stuff. Like, this sounds awful. I'm going to dehumanize this person, but these aren't her opinions. These are rote opinions. These are things that have come from article after article after article after news story after movie after TV show. This is just fed in to people today because we go back to the root issue. This girl was not taught specifically to respect the dignity and integrity of men. She wasn't. And she doesn't even realize that she wasn't because she was taught to recognize all people, right? Or whatever. So, Elizabeth, you really think suicide rates, custody battles, domestic violence, and false allegations have nothing to do with women? You're saying it's all just male on male? We're going to have to agree to disagree. Not saying that we as women don't have real issues that we need to address as a society. It is completely true that we have work to do, but we can and should do both. We have to stop focusing on one group's struggles as more important than the other. That's not equality. Okay, when women have achieved equality, let me know. I mean, just amazing. We can't achieve equality when we keep pitting each other against each other. Neither side has equality. That's the problem. What in the actual fuck? Seriously? See, it's statements like these that are proof the last of our worries are the need for the education of girls and how they treat boys. This is just broken. Okay, so this is going back to her walking the street at night. Rising Shock says, hey, genius, men are the most at risk of being attacked in the streets. All crimes committed that way considered. We're just not paranoid. Okay, yeah. Men are dropping dead of violent crime everywhere. Meanwhile, send your daughter out at night. Tell her to ride the subway alone. Let her walk to school alone. Teach her all about how to not be the victim of date rape because you know it's her responsibility. Literally, compared to women, men are dropping dead at a phenomenally higher rate. In fact, it's 3-1. It's 3-1. Here's the FBI crime statistics from 2019. 78.3% of the 13,927 murder victims for whom supplemental data were received were male. That's the FBI stat. Only 78% of homicide victims are male. That means 21.7% of homicide victims are female, or murder victims are female, women most affected. It always fucking is. But yeah, this is the reality. I would not be surprised if most of this is gang crime. It is. Most of it is gang crime, and most of the victims are men. Who cares? I'm always amazed that people on Twitter are more rude than 4chan. Who cares is more rude than 4chan? Oh, this guy has lived a charmed fucking 4chan life. If this is more rude than his 4chan experience, holy shit. That's the funniest comment I've seen all night. Okay, anyway. So that's this is the disconnect. This is the disconnect. I didn't pull up the violent crime statistics. I could. It doesn't matter. There's no communicating with these people because they don't accept. They've been told. I guess this is the end result. They've been told their entire life that women are particularly vulnerable. What they don't understand, and this is the best part, really, when you get down to it. Why have women been told that they're particularly vulnerable? They weren't. What they were doing was overhearing what was being told to men. They don't even realize, sweetie, no one was talking to you. We were talking to our boys. We were teaching our boys to protect women's dignity and integrity. And we were telling them how dangerous of the world is for women. We were telling the boys to go out and be courageous and to be men of valor and to stand in danger on behalf of other people and particularly on behalf of women, because when crime and violence and rape happen to women, it's bad. You were just overhearing the lesson we were teaching our boys. That's why you think women are vulnerable. But no boy was ever overhearing a lesson to the girls about what men deal with. And that's what I'm fucking talking about. That's the problem. You were listening to us talk you up to the next us. You were listening to us tell the next generation to protect you. And then you're like, oh man, women have it really rough. We just never told the boys that they had it rough, because it was their job to ignore how rough they had it. And you'll hear me say this over and over and over and over again. Men have been trained. We know that we just suffer through the bullshit. We just bear it. But men are getting tired of bearing it. The lessons are failing, ladies. We're begging you. We're begging you to make the lessons matter again, because you can tell boys all day. You think Johnny Depp is ever going to trust a female again? And thank God he's 58. What if he was 26? You think that guy ever trusts a woman again? You think a guy who gets divorce raped ever wants to remarry? Like, you think a guy who gets sperm jacked and then hit up for child support for a kid that he never thought he would ever have, and gets run through the system, gets called a deadbeat dad, maybe spends a couple nights in jail because he didn't even know, or because he couldn't hold a job because he got fired for something and he couldn't make a payment? You think that guy trusts women ever again? You think he respects the honor and integrity of women? You think so? Those of us out here who are raised to honor and respect and protect women, we're begging you guys to pull your fucking share. Like, we're just out here just saying, hey, danger, warning. This is going away. You've been living under this shield for decades, and it's leaving in your quest for equality. But you don't realize in some of these stats, you're doing pretty good. Anyway, it's my rant about this. Because no, this isn't about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, but it relates directly to Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. It relates to this point. Amber Heard knew that there's a bunch of men who've been trained their entire lives to protect her, to protect women, particularly pretty women who might produce pretty babies, right? That's Amber Heard's outlook. That's what she was raised on. I don't care if her parents failed. I don't care. Society taught her this. And she fucking knew that if she went to society with her accusations, that they would take her side, that they would default to her side, that the women would believe her. If nothing else, just due to the math of tribalism. And that the men would believe her because they've been trained to do it. They've been trained to listen to her. She knew what would happen. My whole point in all this is, and look, I know the way that I'm going to be labeled. I know how this is going to come across. It's just par for the course at this point. I'm not complaining about the status of men. All right? I am warning. I'm ringing the fucking bell. You don't realize what you're doing. You don't realize what you are doing to yourselves by not valuing men. These men are trained, they're brought up to die for you. And the fact that there's a bunch of women out there who are still bitching about this pay gap that it doesn't fucking exist. It doesn't exist in actual hour for hour work. You've got women bitching about things like the pink tax. Don't buy the pink thing, buy the blue thing. If that's what it takes. If you're fooled by a pink box into paying 40 cents more on the dollar than what men pay, then I'm sorry, you're a fucking idiot. And you're like, I like the pink thing. Stop it. Stop liking the pink thing. What's wrong with you? But you're worried about these things. What you should be worried about is that your men, your tribe, for eons have protected women as a valued resource. For eons, they have valued you above their own lives, and they don't care anymore. And the risk that you face when those men stop caring is beyond anything you've experienced in your life. That's the scary thing. I'm not complaining. I'm the fucking dead canary in the coal mine. Quite simply, you'll never open a pickle jar again. And that'll be by far the least of your problems.